Alright, so I'm here with Goose. The Goose is loose, by the way. And we're going to do a quick little rundown on cost of trail. So I had a user reach out to me on trail, and they were like, hey, it'd be really cool if you broke down like what it is to have like a really expensive thru hike versus a really like cheap thru hike. And you and I both kind of fall into the category of like what is kind of really expensive and what is like really not expensive. So like I'll just go ahead and get this started off. Before trail, at the very beginning of trail, like when I was standing at Campo, I was sitting on like $5,500, and I had about $7,000, maybe $7,500 at the start, but had a few last minute things pop up that I had to pay off that I had kind of forgotten about and didn't really realize. So I unfortunately lost some money due to covering some like previous costs of debts and bills. So I started the trail with literally like $5,500 in my bank account. You don't have to say how much was in your bank account, but what would you say is a budget that you were looking at the start of the trail that you think would be reasonable? Or at least what you were dealing with?
I was expecting ideally 8K absolute max, but I think realistically for where we're at and what we have left, like 6,500 absolute max, like realistically closer to 6,000 though, and so I think somewhere in that range. But then again, we drink a shit ton of beer, so it's like that's an extra cost.
We also smoke a lot of weed, which I think. Shout out to some of the trail angels that have blessed us with herb along the way. But you know, how long were you buying weed for? Your weed costs were way lower than mine.
Yeah, I probably only spent $40 on weed.
Oh my gosh.
No, actually, maybe like $60 to $80 on weed.
That's fucked.
Since the start of the trail.
Sorry, ladies. Sorry, children. That's fucked. I've spent almost $1,000 on weed. Almost $1,000. Because where I came from culturally and like smoking wise, I had high standards as far as what I smoke and how much I smoke, and I wasn't careful enough to really let that go and adopt a new mentality as far as smoking on trails. So I unfortunately wasted a lot of my budget. I say waste, I blew a lot of my budget on bud costs. What's been your biggest expense?
Probably honestly beer.
Honestly, beer? I mean, well, because it's a flagrant expense. Would you agree it's a flagrant expense?
Yeah, but
we don't have to drink beer.
Because that was the other thing though, where it was like if I was just going fast, was just doing resupplies, like minimal beer purchases, and it's like I probably would have been looking at like a $5,000 total thru hike, and but the thing was that was already way cheaper than I expected, and I felt like it's come out here and kind of who gives a fuck. It's like luckily I'm in a spot to where it's like I can afford a little extra things now and then. It's like ideally not get too much into a habit of it, but it's, you know, I'm fucking walking every day. I'm gonna treat myself when I get to town.
Yeah. So do you think you spent a lot of money on town food?
Not really, no.
Nor have I.
Ever since like the before the Sierras, it was probably like 30 to like $60 on town food.
Did you say 30 to 60?
Yeah, but each town stretch.
I mean, are you talking every time you get into a town you might spend 30 to 60 on town food?
I used to, and then now it's
not including brewskis.
No, yeah.
Whoa. Dude,
I had one town. I had Idlewild where I spent like $120.
Oh, well, how many days were you there for though?
2 days.
2 days. All right. I mean, like, what do you think we're really looking at? Like, if you go on average, any trail town, because let's say, to be realistic, like, half the towns have, like, fast food, and half of them are straight up mountain towns, small towns, middle of bumfuck nowhere. Like, what do you think the average is? Do you think, like, $25 for a meal is average? I kind of think so.
Yeah, I'd say that's average if you want to actually be satisfied, because even stuff like Taco Bell, yeah, it'll be cheaper, but you're going in there ordering still like $25 worth of food.
This is true.
But then again, I'm at the point too though where I'd rather do that, splurge on $25 where I'm disgustingly full. Taco Bell compared to going into a restaurant paying $30-45 for one plate, and I'm still like, do that for lunch, and by dinner I'm like, shit, I'm starving again.
Yeah, like when I got into Lone Pine, that was my like introduction. That was like my introduction to the Sierras. I was mad wasted, like energy wise. Like I mean, like I wasn't drunk. I mean, like wasted energy wise. I was taxed. I was gassed. I was wasted. I was dusted. And coming into Lone Pine, I went into the little Mexican restaurant in there, and I spent like almost $60. I had a beer, but I had like nachos, and then I had like the shrimp, and I had like surf and turf. I was like hungry as a beast. So like, yeah, that gets to you. What do you think? So like, I personally feel like I had some emergency gear purchases I made in Idlewild early on in trail that I don't think I really needed to make. Like rain pants, rain mitts, some stupid stuff. And I personally think like, now I know that the mentality of like, do I really need this gear is so much more pivotal than I ever could have realized. Like, and that would have saved me a ton of money. What do you think like would have like is something that would say that like you could tell another hiker who has never hiked before, who's like, I want to hike in 2026, that would like be like, yo, if you really want to save money, fucking remember this.
I feel like the biggest thing is just that it's the name, especially with like a lot of my gear, is I have like the most expensive thing, single item I own is that I paid for is my backpack, and that was like a big me splurging $300. Why the fuck am I doing this for my backpack? But then like the big names aren't always kind of the best route to go. It's like go and do some searching. It's like, yeah, it might take an extra week or something to ship, or like it might be some random company, but if you do some research, you'd be shocked at what you can find for a good price, and just with everything. So it's kind of just do your research before buying gear, because a lot of times the most expensive shit isn't even going to be the right fucking thing you need, especially if you don't know what the hell you're doing coming out on a trail or a through hike. Just with backpacking gear in general, it's like started off as like an overnight trip, and then as like what you need for an overnight, and then slowly build off of that. I feel it's just, don't get into buying all this.
Well, so like, how much did you spend on your sleeping bag though?
The one I started with was $175 for a 20-degree down bag, but the new one I'm getting was $150, and with the $40 I was given at Timberline Lodge, makes it $110.
Okay. So part of the reason that we're here in Cascade Locks still is, well, I mean, I need to charge my phone. I needed to get some packages. He's waiting for a package. His package he's waiting for is a sleeping quilt he ordered. So your sleeping bag cost you $175. This bag price point was $150. Yeah. So that's like over $300.
Yeah, this quilt's also like a little over 1.5 pounds lighter. Well.
So I spent $470 on my Feathered Friends quilt, which is expensive, but you get what you pay for. Bottom line is like that still averages out, you know, like to about between $300 and $500 for a sleeping system. I mean, like including a sleeping pad, you know.
Yeah, I got lucky with the
We're not talking, I'm sorry. We shouldn't talk about this. We shouldn't be talking about how much our gear costs, because we're talking about the cost of the actual hike. Yeah. Because there is people out there that are already outdoorsy folk. So if you're an outdoorsy folk and you already have like backpacking gear, you can't put that into the budget, because some people do and some people don't. So, you know, yeah, like there was someone commented in the comments that when they hiked the AT, their budget was $1,000 a month, with an extra $2,500 pool of just like play money for their whole trail that they can mess with.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb, because I think with even that comes out to about $250 a week spending wise. It's like we're talking, and that even puts it into perspective where it's like even stuff with like hotels where it's like you spend $150 once a week for a hotel room. The average through hike is 25 weeks, so you're paying like $3,500 upwards of like $4,000 on hotel rooms throughout the whole trip. So it's like if I was somebody who went with hotel rooms every trip, instead of $6,000, I'd be looking at a $10,000 through hike. So that's how you get upwards in that $10,000 to $12,000 range, like you see online. But it's like by cutting stuff like that.
And when he says by what you see online, go Google Halfway Anywhere's PCT survey, and you'll see an average of 11,000 and change of the average cost for a PCT through hike. So that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, and it's like when I came out here, I knew I was coming out here on a 6-month backpacking trip. All my stuff's equipped to be comfortable enough for me, and I expected that I was gonna have to sleep outside for every night of it. And it's like I'm at the point too in the trip where I honestly could care less whether I'd prefer to be sleeping outside than inside of a hotel room. So it's kind of just like, and if anything, knowing that I saved almost $4,000 by the end of the trip by choosing to do so, that makes me happy. That's $4,000 I can go put towards the next hike or the next whatever I want to do.
And even if you don't have that budget, like we know people who've saved like upwards of $30,000-$40,000 for their through hikes, to where they're like, I want to be able to get a hotel room in every single town I stay in, be able to eat out in every single town I stay in, like full on glampers. We call those platinum blazers, and no shade to them, shout out to them, because you know it's the platinum blazers that if you're friends with, they're gonna be like, hey yo, I got a hotel room, come crash with me. Hey yo, you know what, actually, like I know you guys are bumming on money, let me buy you dinner. Stuff like that. I think it's a really important factor to state that there is shitbags out here, and I know it sounds crass, but I will say shitbags that will mooch off other people, mooch off other hikers, mooch off anyone they can, and they'll excuse it as hiker trash when it's really just like, dog, you should just like be more self-sufficient. To each their own, but you know, we don't really do that. We don't roll like that, you know, but you know, trail magic is trail magic, and if someone offers you something on the trail, you're kind of obligated to take it, you know, and that does happen. So we've been really blessed by a lot of people who've reached out to us, stoked us, let us stay at their place, given us herb. Shout out Stephanie, shout out the Rogue Valley River Rats, shout out Foxy Worldwide, shout out Dave, shout out all the people that have let us like crash at their place, smoke their weed, bought us food. That's another thing as well. But there's people who come out here. I mean, there's Europeans who are out here that have saved for multiple years to like fund this hike. I mean, he sold his van. I sold my car. I sold my cargo bike. Like, yeah.
I feel like in the end though, where it's like it's one of those things where it's like you can make it expensive, and I feel we were talking about it yesterday where it's like coming into town and you have a hotel room, you almost feel like it's just a pause from trail, and it's like for some people that's what they desperately want and need, but it's, at least for me, it's, I don't mind living like this. It's, I think in the end, because I know it's by choice, it's until I go home and all that, I have a supply of money where I'm never screwed. And so it's like I don't mind sleeping outside, stealth camping and doing all that, because for me it's part of just the trail. But I feel like it's one of those things where if you genuinely want it, you'll find a way to make it work. It may not look exactly this way or this way, but there's people out here that are doing $2,500 through hikes. So it's kind of all your call. It's from Ash, I didn't spend a single dime on resupply all the way up until then, and the last resupply before that in Ashland was a $14 dollar store resupply, and ever since then just hiker box and just getting stuff from trail and go some other hikers.
So final summation, I think what it comes out to is Your ultimate cost for a thru hike is going to depend on how you choose to hike. Do you choose to glamp? Do you want to stay in hotels? Do you want to eat fancy town food? Do you want to stop at all the breweries? Do you want to indulge? How indulgent do you want to be? And how comfortable with discomfort can you become when you not twist, but alter your point of view to what is really comfortable and also what works for you. So what works for one person, sleeping in parks and eating fast food and like resupplying out of hiker boxes, that might not be comfortable for you, and so you might not choose to do that. But if you can adjust to that, then you might have a more tightly budgeted thru hike than another person. And also whether or not you're a U.S. citizen on a U.S. long trail as opposed to someone who is from another country. You've got different airfare. Also, whether or not you're an outdoors person, or if this is like sort of a new concept to you. If you're already an outdoors person and maybe you have footwear or a backpack or things like layering and clothing that are like outdoors clothing and stuff for backpacking, that may play into it as well. I think we covered a lot. I think that works. Right on. Peace.